Hello, and welcome to another edition of Just 5 Minutes in Acts, short 5-minute studies based on the New Testament book called The Acts of the Apostles. I'm Clay Brown, Associate Pastor for Equipping Ministries at Memorial Drive Presbyterian Church, Houston, Texas. And in today's passage, we're going to look at one thought and then one implication of that thought. And by implication, I simply mean if the thought's on target, then here's what it can mean for your life and mine. The passage, Acts chapter 8, verses 1 through 25. It's about the growth of the Christian movement among the Samaritans. The key verses, verses 17 through 21. Let me read them from the New Living Translation. Oh, that's nice. Oh, let me read them aloud from the New Living Translation. Then Peter and John laid their hands upon these believers, and they received the Holy Spirit. When Simon saw that the Spirit was given when the apostles laid their hands on people, he offered them money to buy this power. "Let me have this power too," he exclaimed, "so that when I lay my hands on people, they will receive the Holy Spirit." But Peter replied, "May your money be destroyed with you for thinking God's gift can be bought. You can have no part in this, for your heart is not right with God." Well, what's the one thought here? During the mission to Samaria, there's a key encounter between God and someone who thinks he can use God. Guess who wins? The evangelist of record is Philip, who goes from Jerusalem, because of persecution, into Samaria and bears witness to Jesus. And yes, we're talking about the same people as the Good Samaritan in the famous parable that Jesus told. But Jews and Samaritans at this time have hated one another for hundreds of years. The Jews consider Samaritans half-breed infidels, not exactly a perspective engendering warm, fuzzy relationships and feelings. But guess who hears and responds to the gospel? It's the Samaritans. The Jewish Christians probably would have been less surprised by camels sprouting wings and flying across the desert. The word gets out to Jerusalem, and Peter and John come to check things out, and it's all true. It's all on the level. Peter and John lay their hands on the Samaritan converts, and the Holy Spirit comes upon the converts, the same Holy Spirit that came upon Peter and John at Pentecost. Now, there's a man named Simon. He's a occultist, a magician in some regard in that community. He professes faith in Jesus, but then when Peter and John lay hands on the converts and the Spirit comes, the gears start turning in Simon's mind, and not a very positive way. What a good thing it would be for me if I could do that. If I could fill people with God's power. Well, maybe I can do that. Let me get it from Peter and John, and I'll be set. Well, Peter and John, to their everlasting credit, say, whoa, wait a minute. If you're trying to use God to fulfill your own desires, then that may be a big red stop sign that you're not really a follower of Jesus. You need to rethink things now. As the early Christian movement expands beyond its home base, the message is loud and clear. God will not be used, manipulated, or controlled. It's His plan, not ours. All right, now what's one implication of our thought? God will not be a means to an end. Any end. Even if it's our end, that's good and noble and wonderful. He will not play along if we attempt to use Him or manipulate Him for our purposes. Let me be frank here. It's hard for me to think of a time more interested in having the benefits of God without having to deal with the real God than our time. Turn the Holy Spirit into a life force that makes me happy, wealthy, and wise? Check. Seek peace, security, and purpose, only without the uncomfortable religious stuff that sometimes goes with that. You got it. Make Christianity into something that supports my political party or economic scheme. Right on. It's part of the whole spiritual but religious thing that just makes me shake my head. There's no accountability, no skin in the game by us, no forgiving those who harm you, loving your enemies, putting someone else's needs above your own, and the whole Jesus thing. Son of God, risen from the dead. Don't need that in this. I just want to be a happy, fulfilled, self-actualized person. Well, guess what? God will not be used or manipulated. He's not a means to your end, to my end. He never is, no matter how hard we try. You may think you're fooling him, but in the long run, that will always come back to haunt you. Well, I think that's enough for now. Any questions, comments, email me at cbrown@mdpc.org. That's cbrown@mdpc.org. Next time, one thought, one implication from Acts chapter 8, verses 26 through 40. Thank you for joining us. Take care, and God bless.